Sunshine Network, Florida's best, celebrates the weekend with only the best prime-time sports programming. Saturday.
The following program may not be available to all Sunshine Network subscribers. Please call your local cable company for details.
Wednesday night, Wendell Young looked like beating Montreal was old hat. Tampa Bay's top goalie stopping 32 shots to conquer the Canadiens. And tonight, Wendell and the Lightning look to douse the Flames from Calgary. As Sunshine Network welcomes you to an evening of NHL Tampa Bay Lightning hockey. This evening, live from Tampa, one of the league's toughest teams, the Calgary Flames, looks to scorch Expo Hall with a road win, while the Lightning seek a repeat of their sterling efforts of the past week. A tie with the Penguins and a conquest of those Canadiens. And more than 10,000 fans will be here to see what unfolds this evening as Calgary pays its one and only call of the year here on Expo Hall. Both teams on the ice as we greet you. Good evening. Welcome to the NHL on Sunshine Network. I'm Paul Kennedy, your host. What a terrific evening here on Wednesday. Pandemonium reigning as Tampa Bay conquered the top team in the NHL and the Montreal Canadiens 3-1 to earn their 20th victory of the season, and now have an opportunity to rewrite hockey history. Only two teams in the storied 76-year history of the National Hockey League as expansion clubs have won more than 20 games. Both those teams in Vancouver and in Buffalo won 24 games in 1971. Thus the Lightning 4 games shy of that all-time mark. Now with 20 wins and a total of 45 points in the Norris Division. They take on a team in Calgary that has turned its fortunes around. The Flames a year ago did not qualify for the playoffs, yet arrived this evening in second place in the Smythe Division with 33 wins and a total of 76 points. This should be a good one here tonight as Tampa Bay tries to beat, for the third consecutive game, a Stanley Cup contender. Our top stories around the NHL, and as you know, next week, Minnesota's move to Dallas will more likely than not become official as the North Stars become the Lone Stars from Texas. A trade between the North Stars and the Oilers. Todd Elliott goes to Edmonton. Brent Gilchrist, of course, to the Twin Cities. Both are sitters. Last night around the National Hockey League, 5 games played. Hartford, of all teams, beats Buffalo. Grant Fuhr surrendering 4 goals to the Whalers on only 4 shots. He has won but 5 games in 12 starts since coming over from Toronto. And you see that the Rangers extend the Penguins' woes. Chicago and the Devils play to a draw. Dirk Graham with the goal for the Blackhawks. Scott Niedermayer scoring for New Jersey. Dino Ciccarelli collecting a pair of goals as Detroit ends Toronto's near-record 10-game unbeaten streak. The all-time Leaf record of 11 games without a loss dates back to 1950. And the Flyers, behind Tommy Soderstrom's work in goal, he stopped 36 shots, conquers Washington. Earlier today, St. Louis had an opportunity to climb to 4th place in the Norris Division and overtake Minnesota, but they fell to Boston 4-3. Thus, the NHL now looks like this. In the Norris, Chicago with 82 points, standing in first, with Detroit holding on to second place by beating Toronto last night. Minnesota and St. Louis now in a tussle for the final playoff berth, and you see Tampa's record too. The Smythe finding Vancouver 5 points in front of our guest from Calgary as the puck is dropped here tonight. Third place LA, now a single point better than the Jets, who the Lightning face twice next week, Tuesday evening here in Expo Hall and Sunday in Winnipeg. To the Wales Conference and the Patrick, as Pittsburgh still enjoys a commanding 13-point advantage over Washington. You see New Jersey and the Rangers both earning points last night while the Islanders were idle. And in the Adams, Montreal, playing in Minnesota tonight, has already clinched a playoff berth, as has second place Quebec. The Bruins remain in third, and Buffalo in fourth, well ahead of also-rans in Hartford and Ottawa. For Tampa Bay, rookie winger Rob Zaminer's play has been a major reason for this team's outstanding week against the Penguins and the Habs. Rob has scored 3 goals for the Lightning over the last 7 days in these 2 outings and has 7 goals for his last 14 games. Durable, too. Only Rob and his line mate, John Tucker, have appeared in all 65 games for the Lightning. Rugged defenseman Sean Chambers scored the game-tying goal in the second period here Wednesday against Montreal. A backhander off a mad scramble in front of goalie Patrick Waugh. His defense has been solid, too. And tonight he must face a Calgary Flames team that is capable of scoring quickly. Although Calgary will skate tonight without second leading scorer Gary Roberts, the left winger sidelined by a serious leg injury. He may be lost for the year. But defenseman Al McGinnis is back from problems, and perhaps that will offset Gary Roberts' loss. And you see Theo Fleury, the fine right winger, the team's leading scorer, now with 27 goals and a total of 80 points, and he ranks 14th, does number 14. How coincidental is that? In the entire NHL with 53 assists. Theo can pass the puck. One of the better stick handlers in the NHL. In just a moment, we will discuss this evening's game with his head coach in Dave King, and we will also talk with a member of Hockey's Hall of Fame, the president of this franchise, in Phil Esposito. And then John Kelly, the voice of the Lightning, along with Danny Gare, will be along to field your telephone calls and respond to your comments as we set sail from Expo Hall. And here are all the other games set for play on a Saturday night around the National Hockey League. And our chat with Espo himself is next here on Sunshine Network.
Drop into a Southern Dodge dealer and you can get a Ram 150 pickup with air conditioning at no extra charge. Plus $1,500 cash back. Or get a Cummins diesel and get $500 cash back. $500. That's something Dodge hardly ever drops on diesel pickups. It's the National Dodge Truck Sale. Now arriving at a Dodge dealer near you.
Where do dreams begin? In the imagination of a child. In the delight of his first catch. It is
I did it, Dad!
a moment when he steps up to bat. Childhood dreams becoming adult realities. Share these dreams with your children. And WBFS-TV, home of the Florida Marlins.
We all want to protect our beautiful beaches and the lakes and forests too. That's why so many people bring their used motor oil to the recycling centers in every Discount Auto Parts store. Discount Auto Parts now accepts used motor oil, transmission fluid, and hydraulic fluid for recycling. It's easy, it's convenient, and it's free. So when you change your oil, dispose of it the right way. Bring it into any Discount Auto Parts store, anywhere.
Get Castrol motor oil for just 92 cents now through Tuesday.
So help us protect our environment. Got some used oil? Bring it in.
You're watching Florida's great sports network, Sunshine Network, home of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Tonight in sold-out Expo Hall, the Tampa Bay Lightning look for a third straight upset win over a third straight Stanley Cup contender. As we welcome you inside, and a gentleman who knows a great deal about Stanley Cup success, the president of this franchise, Phil Esposito, joins us. You have to be awfully proud of the way this club has played over the last week, with tying Pittsburgh on their home ice, and then in here Wednesday, shocking Montreal.
Well, you know, the biggest thing, Paul, is getting 20 victories. I remember at training camp, we were sitting around and our scouts, and, you know, picking the players, and we're picking the teams and stuff. And the scout said, "What do you think, Phil? How many points?" I said, "We're going to end up with between 50 and 55 points this year." And the only two guys that had thought about that was Tony and I. And that's because we weren't playing, obviously, I suppose. And the scouts looked at us like, "Are you guys crazy?" Or, you know. But we ended up with, well, we've got 20 victories. We've got, what, 45 points or 46 points, whatever it is. I'd like to see 5 more victories. The record is 24 victories by an expansion team. I believe it was Vancouver. way back when.
Vancouver and Buffalo in 71. And what's equally impressive is that you have beaten or tied 17 teams in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, we've got Jersey yet. We got to catch them. I forget who the other teams were, but you're right. We've been very competitive, and that's what this season was about. You know, when you're an expansion team and you're in a state of Florida, you have to be a little bit more. And I think that the Miami team coming in next year will have a great advantage over what we did last year because of the draft rules and the fact that they're going to be able to pick first or second next year's draft, no matter in the amateur draft, no matter where they end up following year. Plus, there is one other thing: they get a chance at 4 free agents. We had a chance at 1 free agent. And you know who that free agent was we signed from that expansion draft? Brian Bradley. Now that tells you that if they can get 4 of them, they may be able to be very competitive very quickly. And I think that's what Bobby Clark's going to do.
You signed a young man by the name of Rob Zaminer, had to convince him to come down here. You gave him your number 7. He is one of 2 Lightning players that has played in every game. And in this, his rookie year is starting to mature, and he's had 3 goals in your last 2 games.
I think Robbie Zamner is going to be a solid NHL left winger. I don't think he's going to be a prolific goal scorer, but I believe he can get 25 or 30 goals and 60 or 70 points every year and be a solid player. And that's the type of thing when we gave up the 3rd-round pick for him and signed him as a free agent, that's what we were hoping for. And that's what Rob has given us. I really like the kid, too. I like when he stands in the slot like he did the last game, too. He's last 2 games now, he's been standing in the slot by the hash marks, and bango, they're getting him the puck, and he's snapping the puck. I've been trying to get somebody to do that with this team since we started this year. I mean, I made a living out of that spot.
Esposito, number 7, planted. When he got the stick down, you weren't going to move him. Right now, there's some pretty tough goings off the ice for you, and it involves the arena. On Monday, there is to be a major announcement. Where do you stand, Phil?
Well, I don't know. I mean, to tell you the truth, I don't know whether they've got the financing or not. We have not heard. We just know we're reading in the papers. We have not had any contact, at least not that I know of. They may have today, but
you need a place to play, a first-class facility.
We're going to get a place to play. We're going to have a first-class facility. We'll probably be back here next year and playing in here, and we're going to really work on playing those 5 or 6 games in Orlando during the fair here and during Christmas time too, because we just can't be on the road like we did. I really believe it may have cost us a legitimate chance at the playoffs this year. Those 16 games, 9 on the road, then 7 in a row at home. And Paul, you come back from a long road trip like that, it's very difficult to get back in tune. And if you remember correctly, we didn't until the last 2 or 3 games.
And now it's starting to turn for you. Before we let you go, take a look at the Calgary Flames, who last year did not make the playoffs, and right now they're second in the Smythe.
I think they're a tremendous hockey team. I couldn't believe they didn't make the playoffs last year, and I think that a lot of it was the goaltending, but Vernon is really playing well this year. Their defense is solid, and they've got the big guy in center, Joel Otto, who, although he doesn't score a lot of goals, really is the leader of that team. You got the kid like Fleury and Joe Nieuwendyk, who score a lot. Gary Roberts is out, and he's a big force. But we're going to have to play the same type of game we did against Montreal. Close checking and, try to put our opportunities in. Our biggest problem in our hockey team is the fact that we do not have the prolific goal scorer, or what we're going to try to do next year is get about 4 or 5 20-goal scorers, and that's the difference between our team and a team like Calgary.
The observations of a member of Hockey's Hall of Fame, Phil Esposito. Thanks, Phil.
Tired man today. My daughter's wedding last night.
Congratulations to Carrie. And we will have more this evening from Expo Hall or Espo Hall after this here on Sunshine.